Hi, my name is Steve Jeans, and I want to welcome you to this interview with Maria Lundbak Hinge and Tina Hedén. We're going to talk about worship today. It's a subject and something that is strongly on Tina and Maria's hearts, as well as mine and many other people in the Vineyard Nordic. So I want to just start this talk by asking you both to maybe just share a little bit about your story. Like, where do you come from? How did worship become a part of your life? Do you want to start, Maria?
All right. I am from a place called Ranas and grew up in a church. There was no vineyard churches when I grew up, so I grew up in a free evangelical church where I grew up with worship. And since I played the piano, I naturally became part of the worship since I was, I think, 12 or 13. Nobody really taught us about worship. We just did it and stumbled our ways around it. And I think we as young people were too focused on excellence in the way that people will not treat each other very nice where I grew up. And I learned that if you're good musicians, you have to have an attitude. And it was really not very healthy to be in the youth worship band. And and I thought I was going to be a musician. That was everything I wanted to do. And I learned that if you're a musician, you have to sit in the corner while others are playing, and you have to be like, I can do that better, which is not good. At least not for worship. It's good to practice and do your best. At some point, I went on a discipleship training school with YWAM, and I had learned to have attitude. So I came with so much attitude, and I had a problem with the worship because I didn't think the drummer was good enough. Like, how can you worship if you don't have a steady drummer? And God was really working with my character for so many different reasons. And I ended up becoming the one who was vacuum cleaning the hall while the worship team was practicing, wondering why they never asked me to join. And now I certainly know why I was not asked to join, because I needed to be the vacuum cleaner at that time. So eventually we went on an outreach to a place called Kyrgyzstan that I didn't know existed. And we took an evangelizing band, and one day they promised us we can use a venue, and it was like a black metal venue underground. We could rehearse there if we promised to give concerts. And we thought, that's a great deal. This is what we want to do anyway. So we're this Christian band, mostly Americans, and I'm the only European there. And they liked us just because we were from Europe and the States, and we were really poor as musicians. So when we played, we were playing one set, and then a Russian Kyrgyz metal band was playing. And when they started to play, the whole spiritual atmosphere changed. So when we came back up, we were not able to play together at all. I was a lead singer, and I was standing in front of everybody there, and things just completely fell apart. And I was so embarrassed. When you are in the middle, I think I was 20 years old, and I just wanted to run away and escape. And we were all so embarrassed on stage. And at some point, I think we just decided, okay, we need to just give this to the Lord, because we can't do this, and we weren't talking. And then the Holy Spirit just fell in a way that I don't think I can remember I have experienced like that. In a bomb shelter underground with lots of people with black makeup and demons on the walls, and people were either like standing like, what's happening, frightened, and other people just raising their hands and praising God. And His Spirit completely took over. And I think I consider that the time where I went from being a musician who played Christian music, played worship songs, to be a worshiper who's also a musician, which I think is a significant change in the way you look at things.
Mm.
And I would just remember looking around and hearing instruments that weren't there, and seeing how God's was taking over, and it didn't depend on how I played, how I sang, nothing that I did. And I was just like, okay, God, if this is how you do it, I want to be part of this. Give me more.
Wow.
I'm in. So that's a super short version of my story of really getting what is worship all about.
That's great. And so how many years have you been involved with the Vineyard now, and being the worship leader in Vineyard, in Copenhagen Vineyard, and also for leading the Vineyard Nordic movement?
I think I started in Copenhagen Vineyard 18 years ago. And I don't remember when I became the worship leader, but I got involved in the worship because I had been doing worship before. So maybe the same year.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got involved as staff in 2006. So that's 14 years ago.
Yeah.
Been there since. And then I when was that Vineyard Nordic? Probably around 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so exciting to hear. Wow, what a story. How God has changed you completely, your heart. It's a hard thing. So, Tina, let's hear a little bit about your story.
Well, I was not brought up in a Christian family in that way that we went to church. We had so I met God. He came into my apartment when I was 22. From that stage, I knew that this is a spiritual thing. And to make a long story short, I met Andreas at the same time. We were in the same class. We were studying music at the Music University in Gothenburg.
So, and Andreas is your husband, right?
Yeah, Andreas is my husband. Yeah, so it's very much about us, actually, the story. And then we went also to YWAM school, discipleship training school. And after that, the Lord told us to quit school. To quit the university, to not finish the education, and instead move to Norrköping. And then in Norrköping, it happens that a lot of people came to our apartment and we worshiped for hours. I don't know how many days a week, but we worshiped. We just wanted to have the presence of God. And I think that really formed my way of thinking of worship, how to come close to God, what happens within inside of me when he comes, and what happens with the others and his kingdom. People were healed, they were delivered from demonic powers during that time. And I knew that when I have struggles and problems, I knew that if I worship, it's like a bridge to the truth, and to really get hold on what is mine as a Christian, a new identity. So worship was really, really important to me. After a while, this gatherings became a church plant, and after some while again, we were adopted into the Vineyard family from Stockholm. And that was a very, very good, but very, very hard time. It was beautiful in so many ways, and I learned so many things there. And then we finally quit. We needed to break, and we went to Stockholm in 2000. And after that, I was teaching, singing. I was vocal coach and music teacher. And finally, I considered to finish my education here in Stockholm. And at the same time, we were asked to be pastors for the Stockholm Vineyard. and Andreas was the main pastor. And I wasn't involved in worship. I was totally focused on my studies and was thinking how I could use the music in different kinds of areas. But I had this worship experience. I knew what it was, and But then it happens one time that we didn't have anyone leading worship, so we grab our instruments and do it. We have done it so many times before, so we did. Just the two of us and our little 3-year-old son. And after that, I felt the Lord told me you should stay in worship. And I don't remember when this was. I think it was, maybe 10 years ago or something, 9 something. And then it became, I got a worship team. And I haven't led a worship team actually before, but then I learned a lot of that. And then some years ago, I was also responsible for the ministry in our church. And since this fall, I was asked to be a part of the vineyard leading team in worship. So I have a very good experience, a very strong experience around worship. I know it's a powerful thing for both individual and for other people and places and all that.
Thank you, Tina. I know that you both have worship so strongly on your hearts, and you're both an inspiration to a lot of leaders. We're going to talk a little bit about that a little bit later. But first of all, I wanted to ask you, because I know that during this Corona season, when we have all been isolated in our homes, you both took initiative to something. And I would like to just hear a little bit about what your initiative was and a little bit about what you have seen God do during this time. Anyone want to start? Maria, you want to start?
Okay, sure. I think we felt in Copenhagen Vineyard, we felt the need to create some kind of structure for people who didn't have structure in their everyday life when it was completely chaos, and the need to just keep worshiping, as worship is warfare, to provide something that maybe no matter what happens in your life, no matter the circumstances, every day at 8 p.m. we're going to worship. And there's not a success criteria for how many should be part of it. We're just going to worship. So I started to talk to the Copenhagen people about it. And then we thought, why don't we talk to more people about it? Also because we knew it's going to be a lot of work for just the rest of us in Copenhagen. So it ended up becoming a Nordic initiative. And what I have really loved about it is the opportunity for every worshiper who wanted to participate. Because the setting is, we are leading from a living room to a living room. It doesn't require that you have stage skills. The stage doesn't matter anymore. What we need is authenticity and the ability to connect to people. And if you can lead worship in a small group, you can lead worship online. That's all it takes. And I think it has been amazing to see how people have connected to the worship from countries all over, even further than the Nordic countries. I also think this practical thing, when you're on Facebook and if you live stream, you can see who of your friends is connecting and watching it. And I've watched quite a lot of people who was not part of our church anymore, so suddenly they were in the worship. And it's easier to click somewhere on Facebook than drag your physical body all the way into a church building. So I think I didn't know how much it would minister to me, but also spread out, be an open side door to the church when we started it. So we ended up doing this every day from Monday through Friday for 9 weeks in a row. And I think I should let Tina say some before I continue, so I don't take everything. from her.
Go ahead, Tina. Share from Sweden.
Yeah, it was so funny that I think we got this idea at the same time. So I figured it's some kind of God thing here, because I got the same idea and I felt we need to be out on the internet, and we need to be seen. People need to find us. Even if maybe Facebook is not the absolutely best place to be if you don't know us already, but at least, as Maria said, we have been available for many more people than before. And I just felt this is so important. I just had this view of a house that we needed to open the windows to let the world know that we are here. We're here and we're singing in here. We are worshiping in here. This is what we do. This is our lifestyle. This is our routine. This is our patterns. This is as you said, Maria. Also, it's help people to get structure and to keep focus. And to see this is just the beginning of something new, and to see this is really exciting. We start here, and then we'll see what will happen. This is it's on our way of something new. I don't think we will go back to exactly the same thing before. I hope not. And I've seen people grow, not only the one who is leading, but of course many, because we need to take more responsibility of our journey with God now. We can't lean on Sunday services or groups of people. We need to actually seek Him ourselves and also see what is He up to, what is going on, and we can't figure out that. I mean, we can't do this in the same way that before. So yeah.
So in this time that we're in right now, I know that a lot of people have been following the media and also following the worship sessions during the evenings. I think it's meant a lot for people. When it comes to worship leading, I just want to ask a few questions regarding how you lead worship. What's important to you when you prepare a worship set? Let's start with that. And then from there, we'll talk a little bit about your encouragement to other worship leaders. So how do you prepare your heart? How do you prepare when you're going to lead, say you're going to lead 30 minutes of worship on either Zoom or in a church or in a small group? What's taking place, Maria?
Well, first of all, asking God what He's up to. It's a big question because you can never make the perfect set list, I think. I wish I could. But practically, if that's also something I would love to pick songs that says something about what God is doing. Maybe there's a thought that's stirring in my mind, a specific song that we need to sing for this time. Also, practically preparing my heart. You can't lead people where you've not been yourself. It can't be like a cold start. I have to be right with God. I have to be able to spend time with the Lord and even just worship the whole worship set through and finding out, okay, God, is there something specific you want to do through this song? Is it a line we should emphasize on? Is a specific word that we should sing over people? I think sometimes when you prepare, you will know in advance God is going to do something with this song, and sometimes you will know in the very second. And equally, it's important. But it's just, if you just pick the songs in a cold start, it will be more tough.
Yeah.
But also, well, it's not up to me, it's up to God. So I just need to make myself available and open to listening all the way through. And I think especially in this time, where it's not about also leading a band, it's about leading myself and leading others face to face. It's so much more about exercising the muscles of being aware of what God is doing. And I think it's been amazing to see that even though you know it, that He works in ways where it is not important whether it was a live recording or not. The Holy Spirit doesn't care about time. So the word that you get in that very second can be very relevant to a person who listened to it 5 days later.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I answered your question.
Yes, absolutely. And Tina, do you have any input, any thoughts on this?
Well, it's both input and well, advice. I don't know if I can say advice, but something that I try to do is to be sure that God is leading me, God is leading us, God is here, we're giving it all to Him. The default is for us that we are with Him. So when I'm there and I'm prepared like Maria does the same way, but when I'm leading on the actual leading, I'm kind of let go and just go with the flow and trust that the Lord is leading me. Even if I don't feel it, I just go through my intuition kind of and know that He's leading. I don't need to feel it. I need to follow it and also see what happens. Well, now I can't see what happens, obviously, but I just had to trust in that God is leading, and that I say something, maybe it means just something to someone someday, And but when we are with people, it's actually also see what response do I get. So therefore, it's also important to have my eyes open. Maybe not all the time, but have my eyes open to see what God is doing. Do I follow Him the right way? Do I see a response here and there? And yeah, that's what I think I do.
Great. I think God does a lot behind closed doors in this time, and sometimes we will never know until eternity, maybe, what God has been doing in people's lives.
Yeah.
I do think a lot of people are opening up in honesty before God in a different way when maybe you're not together with 50 or 100 other people. So it's really... Let me ask you just a word of encouragement to other worship leaders. Or say that you're a young person, you want to become a worship leader. Is it about skill? Is it about setting up time to train? Is it about your heart? Is it about everything? Is it about both sides? What do you say there to a young person who really aspires, I want to be the best worship leader I can? What's your encouragement to them?
Tina, you start now.
Okay. The best thing is spend time with God and to really lay down everything and let Him be the one who's leading, and to have this intimate relationship with Him, to learn to know His voice and how He is whispering so we know it when we lead. Then we know when He's talking about something or we're leading something. And it's also get to know ourselves and also be very sure that He is actually living inside of us. So we don't need to be tensed or anything. We can relax and know that He's there. And we can also relax to try new things if you feel that we would like to sing a song that we maybe haven't prepared and how to show it to people. I believe we should sing this song now. Why don't you join me in the chorus? And this to be pedagogic, kind of teaching in the same set. I think sometimes we tend to feel it's more unspiritual to teach in the set, but it doesn't have to be. It's a way of helping people go even further, more deep into a relationship with God. So intimacy, I would say.
How about you, Maria? Do you have any input?
Yeah, I would like to broaden out the scope, and I would like to give an encouragement to all the worshipers, not just the young ones who hasn't done it before. Is that okay?
Sure.
Yeah. I'm thinking that for this time, we're needed. The worship that we bring from our values in Vineyard it has never been more relevant than it is now. What people need is connection, it's intimacy, it's integrity, it's passion, kingdom expectation. These things, what did I forget? I forgot one.
Accessibility.
Accessibility. That's really what we need. What people connect to on screens, because we are lacking the physical connection, is the authenticity. It is when you log on and you see people being real, coming as they are, and being in the presence of the Lord, and you can be met like that. And it's not a game of production anymore. I think everything has been turned upside down. People need that you're real, you're human, and you can reach out. And I think that's one of the gifts that we as a movement can bring. We have an important part to play as a church movement, like every other church movement has. They have their important part to play, but I think we have this to bring to the table right now. And if you're sitting out there with just your guitar, you can make a difference. You can really change the lives of people with just being real and worship your heart out. Don't be afraid. Just be you. Yeah.
Wonderful. I think somebody's building a house in the background now.
Yes, it's my neighbor. I'm sorry. He has also dogs.
So in the meantime, I do want to say that you will make a short announcement about what's happening this summer so people can follow on media. Would you do that real quick?
Yes. Well, we have had for the past 9 weeks, we've had worship every Monday through Friday at the Vineyard Nordic Worship Facebook site. And in the summer period, we want to change the scope a little bit, and we would like it to be more visible that we visit specific churches. So we have actually invited all the Nordic Vineyard churches to worship together with us. So every Wednesday at 8 p.m., we will be worshiping together with a local church. And some will worship from the garden, some from a church building, some from the living room. Who knows? So that's what's going to happen. And we will also continue to worship with Vineyard Nordic Youth every other Thursday, as long as they want to continue. So, yeah.
Wonderful. And the same goes for Sweden, Tina?
Well, we don't have anything especially for Sweden. We do this with the Nordic
Together
worship.
with Nordic.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that you guys have prepared this for the summer, and it's going to be very exciting. And also to get to sort of connect with the different churches in our countries during this time. Really a blessing. I want to thank you so much, both of you, for being a part of this interview. And you mean a lot. I know you work really hard, both of you, at what you do, and you do it with such excellence. And I just want to say thank you from the Vineyard Nordic and from everybody else who's taking part of this, that you do a fantastic job. And I love your attitude, your hearts, and thank you so much for being a part of this interview. And bless you both.
Thank you.